uh, in the area of adoption of AI research, AI tools for research. Professor Ashwin comes with more than 25 years of experience. He joined with VIT when I was working there as a scholar and faculty. He has completed his PhD. He was Dean of the School of Information Technology and Engineering site, where my elder son graduated. He was a dean at that time. So my colleague is also a teacher and guru to my son, and he continued to flourish in his professional arena. He is known for his acumen in terms of research, experience in terms of conducting various sessions across the country, and particularly for the IEEE, Springer, and all. Is one of the highly recognized, rated professors in the country or in the world with respect to computer science and engineering. Professor Ashwini, thanks for accepting our invitation. Now the floor is for you to know. We just want to give you a small brief. DY Patil University is part of the DY Patil Group, which runs around 180 plus institutions. After leaving from VIT in 2021 December, on 22nd December, I got relieved from VIT, joined here in 24 December 2021. Then the very next day, I said to Vice Chancellor and the Chancellor that we should start a PhD. That's how in January 2022, we started the PhD, because that is something where I feel comfortable, and more than just teaching and being a dean of the school. So that's how we started the PhD program. The current batch of students are ninth batch. So like in VIT, we do every 6 months admission. So this batch has only 4 scholars, because being a young institution, there is a limitation with respect to the availability of the guides and the vacancies. So currently we are short of the vacancies. Maybe batch 10 will have new vacancies, because a lot of senior people are joining with us, and some of our faculty have also completed their scholars PhD in the last 1 year time, 6 months time. So there are going to be vacancies, and and the high demand is for computer science engineering, and as it is across the country. So I wish the session will be useful to all the scholars and the faculty who have joined to take advantage of this session. Thank you, Professor Ashwin, for your time and efforts.
Thank you, Dr. Murali sir, and for the nice words of introduction. And we had, I think, for the benefit of all the participants, as Dr. Murali has mentioned, we have a long association at VIT. We were in the campus as well as in the staff quarters also. Our families, were together when they were here. So it's a very good, long bonding what we have with Professor Murali Manohar. In fact, he is very much known for his outspoken and transparent and straightforward nature. So I'm happy to associate with him in that regard. So thank you very much, sir, for inviting me to deliver a session for the benefit of research scholars. So I understand that there are scholars from computer science and as well as the
computer applications.
Other areas. So so my presentation, okay. I'll just. Yeah, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, yes.
So in the next few minutes, I will be talking about the AI tools for academic research. I think predominantly to deliver a session on this, I think that is not much essential in terms of usage. The reason is now AI is being penetrated into all walks of our life, and hence students are extensively using the AI related tools, whether it is at the kindergarten level, or at the high school level, or at the undergraduate level, or postgraduate level, and for that matter, PhD level. Students and kids are using AI tools for learning purpose in an extensive manner. So considering that, when I was asked to take a talk for about 2 hours on the topic of AI tools in academic research. I think predominantly, this topic, when we Google it, we will come to know all the tools that are already there in the market, either in terms of free tools or in terms of the proprietary tools that are there. Many times the institute subscribes to these tools for the benefit of their research scholars. So what I will do in the today's session is I will briefly touch upon philosophy of the research, because I understand the scholars are jumping into their academic research journey. So they need to understand the overall philosophy of research. So maybe considering the number of participants are small in number, I would love to have kind of interaction with the students, so that this session would be lively, especially because it's the post-lunch session. So I would love to have a interaction. So is it possible, sir? Like all of them are connected to internet, or they're
Yes,
sitting?
sir. No, all are connected to internet. No
So
issue.
yeah, may I request one by one? Maybe you can just tell briefly about your name and the area of research that you are entering into for your research purpose. Quickly, because we have around 5 or 6. Yeah, please.
Can I start now?
Yeah,
Sir?
please.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I'm a Varsha Parag Patil. I'm working as a assistant professor in a DY Patil Engineering College, Kolhapur. So my research topic is related to the right now for the stress management using for the at the workplaces. Like we are using some tools. I want to just implement some product based here. Last previously means for the MTech, my topic is related to area like cloud computing, to providing the security for the migration, virtual machines are good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. The next, please. I think somebody wants to speak. Dr.
Yeah, next caller can introduce
Shalini?
herself.
Shalini?
Yeah, yes, sir. Actually, the microphone was off. Okay, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. Myself, Shalini Rampure. I'm academician. I'm working as a faculty, to be more specific, visiting faculty for different colleges. My area of research or research interest is management. To be more specific, agribusiness management.
Specific to?
Agribusiness management. I'm from agriculture background.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
So next.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please.
My name is Bhagyashree Jadhav. I'm working as assistant professor in DY Patil Engineering College, Salokhe Nagar. My research topic is related with the information security for my ME, and now I want to work in cyber security.
Very good. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Next. Okay, so I think I see that all of you are having some good amount of experience in terms of either in the classroom teaching, getting engaged with the students, right? So you have taken several topics of maybe in a computer science domain or maybe in the agriculture business domain, right? So we every day to day, we all get engaged we say that, I have done a lot of research. See, I wanted to buy a particular product. I have done a lot of research. So what is, first of all, philosophy of research? Let me touch those aspects of the philosophy of research. The reason I have chosen this particular point for the first discussion is many times, especially in the academic research environment, we are forced, rather are pressurized to do something and then produce something, then say that we have done some research because there is certain criteria that is met. So when we wanted to quantify that, or maybe we wanted to qualify it, we need to understand core philosophy of research, right? So otherwise what happened, it all becomes like another thesis work that would be there in a particular shelf in a particular library, and a candidate would get a doctorate degree, and considering that the research is completed. To give you a quick understanding of, in that regard of what is philosophy of research, I will spend some time. Then after that, I will jump into the next topic, that is AI tools, and why we can, or how we can use AI in the research environment. Then what are all the various tools that we have? And when we are adopting and using these tools, what are the best practices? Because many times, I think since all of you are a faculty member, we all have seen in our classrooms, the students use any of these AI tools are like as a black boxes, right? We all know that, especially from the computer science environment, they know that, the AI is being used as a kind of a black box, where you give some input and you get some output. And many times we do not know what is the reasoning that is happening in this particular box, right? Because it is an AI tool, the reasoning, it has the reasoning capability and capacity, and it is producing some output, right? So many times, even the faculty, as a faculty, we see what is the output that has come, and then we give some marks, right? But the question is, in the process of giving an input and getting an output, what is the reasoning that is happening? What is the learning of the student in terms of, analyzing this particular input, deriving the inferences, deriving the inferences from that particular input, what is the processing method that he has adopted, all that we need to understand, right? So what in that regard, when we are using the AI tools for our research purpose, it's not that we should use them as the black boxes. Rather, we need to use in a proper manner, so that it is the usage is widely recognized and appreciated. So, but before that, as I said, let me spend some time on the philosophy of research, right? So I see a couple of research scholars. I think, all of them have enrolled for PhD. What is this PhD stands for?
Any scholar can answer?
Can somebody answer what is PhD?
Doctor of Philosophy.
Doctor of Philosophy, sir.
Correct. So Doctor of Philosophy, right? No, the point is, we all have enrolled. Even I have done my Doctor of Philosophy. So when I look back, you mentioned that somebody said that, sir, I'm doing my research in virtualization. I'm doing my research in management, especially in the agriculture business, right? Somebody said that I'm doing in cybersecurity. But then when you look at the degree that what we are going to get, it is Doctor of Philosophy. Where is the question of philosophy? Where is that philosophy that is there in these particular topics? What is philosophy in these topics? What do you mean by philosophy in these topics?
Some ethics, like we can consider here.
Sorry?
Like, if the moral ethics are related to the.
Okay, somebody said morals, ethics. Okay. And any other answers? Now, let us make it little interactive. The reason is the group is very small, so we can have a one-to-one interaction. That's the advantage. So one point, somebody said morals and ethics. When we say philosophy, morals and ethics. Okay, let us go with this definition. Somebody said, virtualization. Somebody said cybersecurity. Somebody said, agribusiness. So is it that we are in this particular research, are we looking at the morals and ethics of virtualization principles in the cloud computing, or morals and ethics of agriculture business, or morals and ethics of cybersecurity, or rather are we focusing on the technical aspects of cybersecurity, virtualization, and etc.?
Technical aspects are there.
Correct. But
When you morals and ethics are considered, maybe for the publications. Sorry, I just for the publication research purposes.
Correct. Got it. When it comes to publications, we need to have the ethics. So is it because of that we are having this philosophy in our doctorate degree?
Obviously, sir. Yes.
Okay. Any other answers? So let us understand, okay? Let us understand, first of all, what is philosophy, right? There are various books. My suggestion is, you can have actually look at the, the books that are there on philosophy, especially when we are teaching this research ethics and publication ethics and integrity, we used to refer those books. So if you observe what is philosophy, philosophy is both an activity and a body of knowledge, right? So we need to understand these two terms, activity and the body of knowledge. So take an example. You have a UG student, you have a PG student, you have a PhD scholar, right? So the same concept of, your cyber security is there, okay? Or maybe agri-business is there. What is that UG student is doing? What is that PG student is doing? And what is that PhD student is doing towards these topics? Is it that they do same?
So there is actually differences there, sir.
What is the difference?
For the UG level, we just only not we are innovating something is that here. Whatever your security or the some maybe for example, as per my knowledge, we are working on only simulations and just only theory like basis are there for the UG level. For the PG level, we just try to implement whatever your tasks or security is there in the real networks are there. We're just comparing like using the simulations. Also, real network is that here. And for the PhD level, we want to try to just add some new feature, some modify or some extra, like if you want to security is providing here. So we are using some best algorithm, security like algorithm, Shadab, instead of the existing. So maybe that is the difference between the UG, PG and the PhDs.
Correct. So if you observe body of knowledge, that word, see, the body of knowledge means, say, take an example related to cyber security, or maybe related to cloud computing and virtualization, maybe related to agriculture business, whatever is the entire body of knowledge that is there towards that particular topic. Either that body of knowledge is there in terms of books, that is there in terms of monographs, that is there in terms of lectures, right? That is there in terms of discourses, right? Like that, you have entire set of resources that constitute your body of knowledge on a particular topic or on a particular area or on a particular domain, right? The best example, especially since we have a computer science, the scholars, I would actually suggest to look at SWEBOK. Okay, this is called IEEE Software Engineering Body of Knowledge. Okay, you can Google it, you can get it at free of cost, and it is there online. Okay, so this is a comprehensive document, runs through about a few hundreds of pages, comprising entire body of knowledge of software engineering, right? So take an example, those who teach software engineering, they refer Roger Pressman book, Somerville book. In similar to that, are rather much more a comprehensive body of knowledge, and this particular body of knowledge will keep on getting iterated. So there are multiple versions that are coming in, every time when there is a new body of new knowledge that is added. So when we say there is a body of knowledge, that's what actually you can see here, body of knowledge, and there is an activity around it, right? What kind of activity? Say, take an example, a UG student or PG student would access this body of knowledge to learn, right? So meaning they read these books, they listen to the lectures, they maybe, do some, the project works, so that they will understand this body of knowledge, right? They learn and then understand this body of knowledge. But when it comes to the PhD student or a PhD scholar, or what do you mean by actually research, their activity is to contribute. Okay. The activity is to contribute, meaning they will add some epsilon of knowledge. It could be an epsilon of knowledge or maybe a paradigm shift, whatever that is, that a PhD scholar or a researcher will add or rather contribute to the body of knowledge. So when it is contributed, that will add to the body of knowledge. So when once it is added to the body of knowledge at a later point of time, that would again go to the PG students, go to the UG students in the form of learning purpose through their textbooks, through their monographs, through the classroom lectures and etc. So meaning, we know that there is a body of knowledge for every topic or every domain. There are activity across this particular body of knowledge. So especially the activity for a researcher is not only to learn the body of knowledge, but also to contribute to the body of knowledge. Right? So the activity that a philosopher would do is to contribute. That is the reason why, we were called as, we were getting a degree called Doctor of Philosophy. So when somebody is a philosopher, what actually is the fundamental characteristic of the philosopher? Philosophers are rarely content to accept the status quo. What is the status quo? The body of knowledge, right? In a scientific scenario or in any domain, the status quo is nothing but the body of knowledge. What the UG student, PG student, they are doing, they are simply learning it. Majority of the occasions, they learn it. There may be some bright, interesting chaps who will question even this body of knowledge, right? Why it is so? Why it is happening in this way? No, I will modify like this. What will happen? I wanted to test, right? So they question that status quo. So anybody who questions the status quo, who don't accept the status quo as such, meaning at a face value, they are philosophers, right? So the doctor of philosophy is given is for the reason that they have questioned the body of knowledge. They have questioned the body of knowledge, and then after a scientific process, they have contributed something to the body of knowledge, right? So that's the reason why, the PhD is given. Again, when they have contributed on a particular topic. Say, take an example, virtualization principles. Towards that, they have contributed. Maybe, a new business model in the agriculture sector. That's a contribution, right? So in a cyber security, somebody said cyber security, a new security framework that protects maybe, a particular, say, take an example like low resource devices, like say IoT devices, something like that, right? So I think by now you understand, from our conversation, what is that, our degree, like this PhD, and what is this philosophy involved in this, right? And what is actually the body of knowledge, and what type of activity a particular scholar or a researcher has to do, right? Any doubts or any concerns or queries from the team?
No, sir. So we get the idea about that.
No, sir.
Yeah. So somebody said, sir, this morals and ethics. Exactly. The morals and ethics concepts comes when you are contributing something to the body of knowledge. Obviously, we should be, we should follow certain moral principles and ethical principles, right? So that is where the morals and ethics comes. Okay. So the doctor of philosophy, the philosophy per se is not called or not conferred because of following the morals and ethics, but because of the contributions that are made. So during these contributions, one has to follow morals and ethics. And the degree is not given because somebody has followed morals and ethics. The degree is given because of the contributions made. And during the contributions, one has to follow morals and ethics. It is a fundamental, obligation, or a fundamental, the philosophy of doing the research, right? Next. Oh, I think a lot of, okay, I need to, okay. So, right, I think we'll go. So, when we look at this philosophy, the discipline of philosophy, is, many times in the literature, we associate it with Socrates. So what actually Socrates said was, we can maintain the things the way they are, meaning when there is a body of knowledge, we can keep that body of knowledge. Let us not ask anything, but keep learning from that body of knowledge and say, be happy with the body of knowledge. Okay. He says we can maintain that body of knowledge as it is, right? But there is a value in revisiting our working beliefs. This is true, especially when we face novel or difficult issues. Meaning, the second statement is, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So meaning when we are in a tough situations, novel, scenarios, obviously we keep thinking in a deeper aspects, right? But it's not that because of there is a compulsion to do such, the research, but rather research should be a natural byproduct. So during that process of philosophy, one of the function is that it is to critically examine the basic concepts and ideas and their wider implications for everyday life. Meaning what? When there is a body of knowledge, we need to critically examine, right? You may wonder, sir, our topic of today's discussion is AI tools. Why you are talking all this? Now you can understand. I can very well tell that, hey, look, there is an AI tool for you to proofread your document. There is an AI tool for you to summarize your document. There is an AI tool for you to, to create a literature review. But, there are no AI tools, that critically can examine. That is the human has to do, right? So I think you will understand down the line why I am talking about all this, because there is a thin line of difference where many times the responsibility of the guide or the professors comes into picture to ensure that the scholar is following whether this particular fundamental philosophy of research or not. So whether somebody is doing critically examining the basic concepts. So when there is a body of knowledge, a UG student will read it and then understand, mug up, and then try to correlate, get some analogy, and then write the exam. That's all. But the scholar has to do a critically examine basic concepts that are there, understand the implications of it, right? So when I have to do that, what is the role of philosophy is? The role of philosophy is to provide an analytical framework so that when I'm critically examining the literature, or when I'm critically examining the basic concepts that are there, how I wanted to know whether my, understandings, whether my, the concepts, whether they are valid, justified. How do I actually, come to the logical conclusion, right? So I need to take a decision. So take an example. There is a beautiful, I think this example, I got it maybe UGC guide for scholars or somewhere. I missed adding the, the source, but, think on this particular arbitrary decision one has to take. Say, take an example, somebody is earning, say 10,000 rupees per month, now, whether to donate some amount from that particular money that I have earned, is it a compulsion for me, or is it my choice, or it's a moral obligation? Or is there any way that I look at things, or is it only arbitrary decision?
Actually, donation is not on a choice also, we can say that here. Or also sometimes we can say that if we have the ability, then only we can donate. Now, I want to do the donation here, but I don't have any money, so how will I just donate that?
No. I think that's what, I have the ability, I have earned.
Okay. So obviously, that is a choice, sir. And depends on that person.
No, that's what. So when it comes to you as an individual, when you are saying that it is a choice, what is the logical framework that you have used to come to the conclusion that it is a choice? Somebody may say that, no, sir, why? Is it not his social responsibility? Is it not his or her social responsibility? When they are taking something from society, is it not that they need to contribute? So there is a logical argument, right?
Yeah.
So the point I wanted to ask here is such decisions are arbitrary in nature, or is there any logical framework that we can put this entire scenario and come to a conclusion that everybody would agree?
Up to the right now, I'm just taking here logic.
Yeah. So think on that. So I don't have any, concrete decision or concrete suggestion, because the reason is as a philosophers or as a community from research environment, let us not expect anything that is a concrete answer. Let us we ourselves try to find the the actual answer. Okay, how we can do that? So in the philosophy, one has to engage in the open dialogue. So engaging in the open dialogue with others, analyzing their reasoning. What is analyzing their reasoning? Few minutes back, somebody said, sir, I'm coming to the conclusion that should be a choice. Okay. On what basis? So you have to give some kind of a logical reasoning, sir. I'm saying it is choice because of this reasoning framework. Somebody may say that no, sir, it is compulsion. So okay, I am coming to that compulsion conclusion based on certain reasoning, right? And not only that, it's not that simply I provide reasoning, but I need to also do kind of an evaluation. Okay. And not only that, it also I need to get challenged to explain and justify our views. And if it is required, you have to revise the reasoning that what I have given, right? So engaging in the open dialogue with others, analyzing their reasoning, evaluating our own proposed logic or reasons, or the logical framework, or a proposed methodology, or a new algorithm, or a new framework, and then challenge us to explain and justify our views. Okay. Now, if you closely observe this entire sentence, as a researcher, a PhD student, when they propose something, a new idea on a particular, before that, there is a literature analysis and problem definition, understanding of the problem, and then, propose something, right? And when they propose something, they need to have some logical reasoning for that proposal. Right? And then it's simply not that I come up with a, some crazy idea. I need to evaluate it, right? And I need to evaluate it with a basic, certain experimental setup. Again, a certain benchmarks. Take some testing data, test data framework, right? Compare it with the benchmarks that are there, and use certain metrics to measure it. And with that, I have to explain it, right? And when I'm explaining it, somebody would challenge us through reviews, right? Through Viva, through open defense. There are multiple means with which, we get challenged. In that process, we will justify. And in this process, we may have to stand in front of the guide, doctoral committee, professors in the department, and present all that and then justify. And in this process, we also have to do revise, because fundamentally our methodology may need some kind of improvisation, right? I hope you understood the essence of this entire process.
Yes, sir.
This statement that is there on the screen, engaging in open dialogue with others, open dialogue, right? When we go to the conferences, seminars, we interact, we talk to the people, we discuss, we debate. That's what is engaging with the open dialogue, right? With the open mindset. It's not that, since I know somebody, I will give a positive feedback. I do not know somebody, I will give a negative feedback. Not that way. Similarly, somebody said in a few minutes back, sir, ethics and morals. Since I am engaging with the open dialogue, since somebody is discussing with me as a scholar of another professor, I will take that idea and then try to give it to my scholar, right? So these are all ethics and morals, right? So, but the point is, let us keep that research integrity ethics that as a separate topic. I'm not touching that. In fact, these are all underlined. Okay, so for today, I'm not touching that aspects. So this is very, very important in the research. Now, in this entire process, when I'm saying that there are AI tools, maybe in the next, after a few minutes, I will talk about the AI tools. Okay, you need to very judiciously take AI tools where, is it for what task or at what level, or is it for what purpose, right? So is it that, it is entirely going to take away my logical thought process, reasoning process? For what purpose I'm going to use the AI tool? The reason I'm talking here about, before talking about the tools, all this is, we need to be very, very categorically, crystal clearly aware of the fundamental philosophy of research. Otherwise, blindly using the tool is very, very, catastrophic. The reason is, there are several other catastrophes that are byproducts of blindly using any AI tool, right? So there is a reason why, if you look at philosophy, will not give means to reach to the conclusive answers. Rather, it raises more questions than it solves. This is another interesting, very fantastic statement. When we conclude our thesis concludes with future directions of the research. So meaning, we say that, hey, I have solved a big problem of virtualization. I have solved cybersecurity problem, right? No, it's not that way. So it's not that we have reached to a conclusive answers. Let us understand that it raises more questions, right? So it raises more questions. I keep telling to in every this type of presentations or my class. Earlier, I think Dr. Murali Manohar sir knows that we were having a registrar come academic staff college director, Dr. M. Adithan, at our VIT. At present, he was no more, but so senior, very senior mechanical engineer, and as well as the great professor. In one occasion, I still remember the words he said, a PhD is granted to somebody not because of the work that is done, but the work that he or she is going to do. So meaning, when we have concluded a particular piece of research, it is not that it is done forever, rather it is going to provide more questions for us to solve, right? So meaning, what philosophy is going to do is, philosophy is going to raise the justification standard from assertion to argument. Meaning, let us not take the status quo, rather enter into the argument. Argument means not that negative sense of thing. Rather, it is all about, to engage in an open dialogue. That's what is the argument here meaning, right? Engage in an open dialogue, right? So in philosophy, all assumptions are up for re-examination. So these are the things that one has to note. I think, I have spoke enough of all these things. So in that regard, what actually philosophy is doing is, philosophy provides various tools to put our work into a logical framework, right? When we said that philosophy do not provide any specific answers, rather it raises the question. Somebody may say that, sir, what is this? At the end of the day, I need to solve a particular problem. I need to solve a particular scenario. I need to come out with a solution. You are saying that philosophy will not solve. philosophy will not solve, rather it is like an enabler. It provides various tools for us to solve something. What are the various tools? Number one, logic. Okay. So if you look at especially the computer science, we have fundamentally different forms of logic, right? So please have a look at the literature on what are the various forms of the logic. How do we apply in the research? Similarly, we have history of philosophy, where you have a body of knowledge in which we look at the works of the philosophers and the materials that they have brought in. Then there is a metaphysics, which is also a tool that is from the philosophy, and that deals with the issues not really addressed by the science, rather it is all about the minds, right? So that means it's altogether a different scenario where scientific research do not fit into. Then there is about epistemology, which is about the study of knowledge, which challenges us to defend what we really know and what we claim to know, right? These are the various tools that are there under the philosophy, but predominantly we go with logic and history of philosophy. So especially the computer science community, even for that matter, the business, you must know this particular Professor Zadeh. Okay, he is a professor of professor at University of Berkeley. Now he is no more. He has introduced the concept of fuzzy logic, and he's also regarded as the father of soft computing, right? So all of us, especially from the computer science, know about neural network, fuzzy logic, genetic algorithms. These are all part and parcel of the soft computing, and Professor Zadeh is regarded as the father of soft computing. So especially what is soft computing? We all know that conventional Boolean logic deals with yes or no. When it comes to soft computing, it will not treat this yes or no business alone. Rather, you can very well say that, yeah, water is, is it a hot water? Yeah, it is very less. Hotness is very less. Or it is little hot water. Yeah, it's very much hot water. Right? So you assign certain degrees of membership for every this type of linguistic values and perform a computation that is called fuzzy logic. I don't teach no fuzzy logic, but for that matter, this is a very broad overview of fuzzy logic. So various techniques that the computer science community would use from the fuzzy logic per se, especially for the optimization purpose, and in the case of machine learning, and in the case of multi-criteria decision making and simulation, a lot of engineering applications are there where fuzzy logic has been adopted. In fact, in 2017, I visited his home in Berkeley, and it was around 97 during by the time, very old. It was one of the, I had about 30 minutes interaction with him, some of the best interactions I had with an eminent personality. So if you look at his papers, or if you look at his literature, I said he has introduced the concept of fuzzy logic. Okay. So meaning he has created a body of knowledge. Of course, this body of knowledge actually is a part of body of knowledge of uncertainty. How do you handle uncertainty, right? So for that, you have a probability theory, but he brought in the new paradigm shift called fuzzy logic. Now you look at this particular paper. This paper was published in 2008, right? Whereas this fuzzy logic was introduced by Professor Zadeh in 1960s itself. So he has introduced that philosophy in 1960s, but this paper published in 2008, is there any need for fuzzy logic? Even after a lot of adoption of fuzzy logic into various applications, various engineering problems, optimization problems, and etc., he has written a paper on, is there any need for fuzzy logic? When you read this paper, I repeat, when you read this paper, sir, why you are repeating this when you read this paper? The reason is, if I read this paper only, I will come to know about this. But rather, if I ask this paper to be summarized by a AI tool, I may not get this entire essence of it, right? You can ask an AI tool to summarize this paper, but rather you may not understand very precisely these aspects of it. So take an example. If you look at this inside the paper, Professor Zadeh has mentioned about the criticism that was there in the literature about the fuzzy logic. Okay, so though he proposed fuzzy logic in 60s and widely adopted, there is a criticism on the other side of the coin. There is a criticism about the fuzzy logic. Several computer scientists still do not take fuzzy logic as a logic theory. Rather, they criticize it. And in fact, such criticism comes from his own friends. So that's what actually he wrote in the paper. The professors who has criticized his fuzzy logic theory and what is actually his criticism, right? And then when you read this entire paper, Professor Zadeh has given answers or reply or rather justifications by addressing each of these concerns, right? Meaning what actually Professor Zadeh is doing, he's actually getting engaged in open dialogue. Few minutes back, we talked about engaging in open dialogue, re-examining the proposals, right? So that's what actually is a researcher or a research scientist or somebody would do. Not that I have proposed something and then somewhere somehow it got published and then I leave it, right? So I would suggest those who are into the computer science are have a look at about this. So this is all about the philosophy. And then when it comes to research, the most common vision on the research is that to solve some of the hard problems nobody else has solved. So when somebody we ask them, they said there is a problem that nobody has solved. So it is not only research means not that we do just problem solving. Problem solving is a part of the research that we do. Okay, the research means it's also conceptualization, finding the issues, directions, definitions, expositions, and then making the critical insight. Okay, so in that whole process, problem solving is part of it, right? So there is a formal definition that the Oxford Dictionary has given. I think you can have a look at that. What is the formal definition of research, right? So if you look at this, among all the, is it that we only do research? The humans. If you look at the living organisms, the human beings seems to have the highest degree of what? Organized curiosity. Okay, when this organized curiosity is formalized, it is called as a research. So meaning when we say that I'm doing a research, okay, whether I'm doing with a curiosity and that curiosity to organize, and it is a curiosity not that randomly there, but it is in an organized manner, and then it is formalized. Okay, so fundamentally, when you look at the whole AI can be used to organize your curiosity. AI can be used to formalize your curiosity, but the curiosity should be there within the human and it should not be left to the AI. Any concerns or questions up to here what we discussed?
I totally agree with your statement, Professor Ashwin. The curiosity is with the human being, not with the machine, because machine only know what it is being trained. It does not have its own ability and the feelings and the experiences. So obviously the human being cannot be replaced. So if somebody is thinking AI will replace everything, no, it is not. Curiosity is going to be there with the human being, and they have to be interested always to learn and adopt. Tools are there only to adapt. They will not take the responsibility for anything. I remember one example of my guide telling me when when at that time when SPSS came in, my guide told me SPSS will help you in doing analysis. So he said you collect the data of a class height of the student and IQ scores. So if you put that, it will say a correlationship. But in reality, IQ and your height does not have any relationship.
Yes.
Because the computer does not understand, your program does not understand. So it will only, it is being told that, okay, item A, item B, you can find out. Whereas if it is, let's assume the weight and the healthiness, probably there is. So that's how we need to understand, and then people should take advantage of that. Thank you.
Yes. So, as Professor Murali Manohar sir has rightly mentioned, the curiosity part is the one which the humans, right? Ultimately, when we look at our degree, say, take an example, I'm a PhD scholar, I'm getting my degree, right? So for what aspect of this research, say, take an example, you have said that, there is a organized curiosity formalization. So if and everything I'm delegating it to the AI, the degree is given not for the AI. The degree is given for me, for the contributions that I am making it, right? So the point is that this curiosity part should come within the human to probe. And wherever this AI tools that I'm going to talk about, that should be the enabler that should enhance my curiosity, that should enhance my, the depth of probing that I'm going to do, depth of my, analysis that I'm going to do, the depth of my inference that I'm going to do. So ultimately, these tools need to support me. Rather, if we keep for a different purpose, I think, we will be landing in the different, scenarios, right? So when you look at the research has a few owners who actually find something new. So this is the owners. Owners means it's obviously the humans, right? So we, as a scholar, as a professor, as a scientist, or whoever it is. So whatever the recipients who learn about this new discovery, right? When the large owner communities communicates the new information, right? Meaning there is a owner who actually contributed something new, and everyone else in the community, meaning recipients, will come to know about it when the owners communicate it. So how do I communicate, right? So first of all, when there is a contribution from my side, I need to communicate it, right? So people will come to know about my new discovery only when I communicate. So engaging in research and dissemination of its output is a social responsibility, right? Engaging in research and dissemination. So this dissemination can happen through publications. That is the reason why one has to publish. Not that, I will get a promotion, I will publish. Not that, I will get some increments I will publish, but rather, since I have engaged in the research, whatever the research findings I need to disseminate, and the dissemination is my social responsibility. Why it is social responsibility? If I don't disseminate, what will happen? See, many times we have seen that, in our Indian knowledge scenario, when people have not disseminated it properly, when the dissemination meaning mode of mechanism is not proper, meaning what? There is a knowledge that is there from our ancestors, but that it is not recorded properly, not disseminated properly, only disseminated through word of mouth, right? So obviously, that's not the proper way of disseminating it. So there should be a proper dissemination of the knowledge that is created. And it is a social responsibility, because it's not that I myself, or rather me and my family, right? It's all about the community per se. So this dissemination happens through publications, or for that matter, today I'm taking my lecture, or you are taking as a professors in your classroom. What is that we are doing? We are disseminating. There is a body of knowledge, right? So engaging in research and dissemination are social responsibility. Now, why morals and ethics comes? Because since it's a social responsibility, this responsibility has to be executed in a moral way or an ethical way. That's where that part comes, right? So this I will skip. What is science? We all know that there is a difference between science and research. So science is a process that systematically builds and advances the knowledge by explaining and predicting the phenomenon in the real world, right? So according to the the famous scientist as Francis Bacon, what is the science? Science, something that happens in the world, and for that purpose form a hypothesis that explains or predicts something, and then test the hypothesis. I think all of us, we learn about this during our research methodology classes, right? So in this process, there is a clear definition between the science and research, right? What is the science and what is the research? So science is a branch of knowledge or a systematized study of the natural world. Now, when it comes to research, it is the systematic, not study, rather, it's the first word is given as the investigation, right? So investigation is different and study would be different, right? So the nature, how do we do that? It is a cumulative result, because a particular field gets evolved because of a cumulative result. It's not that because I have done research in a particular security area and I have contributed to that this thing. It's a cumulative effect, right? So if you look at the goal of the science is to understand the truth. The goal of research is to discover novelty, generate the new ideas, and validate the existing theories, right? So in that process, there is a scientists who investigate the natural world, the engineers who create the designed world, and the technologists who build the products out of the created world, right? So there is a scientific method that support the entire process of the scientific discovery, right? So first of all, the scientific method start with a question, right? And again, if you connect that with the the philosophy that we have started with, so start with a question. The question comes, it may be a wild question, or the question that is originated after investigating the body of knowledge, right? And then, so we come up with a proposal. Either the proposal could be a prediction or a hypothesis, right? Then we will have the empirical findings out of this. So once we have done, then we will conduct a way to test that particular hypothesis. And for that particular testing purpose, we experiment by gathering the data, right? So not that we speak just with the data, but rather, the new hypothesis would move from new experiment to retest the ideas, right? For that purpose, we need to check multiple conditions. What are the several parameters, right? Multiple conditions, times, people, that all to be supporting the hypothesis. Once that is there, you will have a formal model and then theory. All that leads further to, several meetings to, discuss, debate, then come to the logical conclusions, then, publish and then share it, right? And in that process, we all face a lot of peer review of the works that are done. We submit the papers to the journals. People will give the criticism. It's a constructive criticism for verification and, the improvement purpose. Then finally, it becomes the part of the scientific literature, right? So once that is there, then question comes to publish. But many times what happens is, we are seeing a trend, or rather a concept that, sir, I have published, or, sir, whether I publish it in a conference, or whether, sir, is this okay for a conference, or is this okay for a journal? So the meaning is, I need to understand the work that I have carried out, is it ready for the publication, right? So the work is ready for publication, provided if it advances the field, if it presents the original results and methods, or it is an up-to-date review also is fine, right? These are all the things that actually one has to look at when they're drafting an article, right? The article comes, provided there are certain progress in terms of advancing the field, getting certain original results, or maybe, I have done an extensive, exhaustive literature analysis with critical insights, not that X has done this, Y has done that, rather with the critical insights, right? So a strong manuscript will carry a clear message presented in a logical manner so that readers will be able to understand, grasp the meaning of the work, right? So this is very, very important. Many times scholars will come to the professors and say that, sir, my paper got rejected again. Why my paper is keep on getting rejected, right? So I need to see that a clear message is being properly communicated in a logical manner, so that readers will be able to understand in the meaning of the work, right? Why a journal has to publish? Because somebody is there to read. When somebody will read, if they are able to understand in the meaning of that, right? So it's all like a circle, right? So there are multiple types of articles: review, original research, review articles, short articles that would communicate brief work that that the scholars do. Then case studies, especially in the business community, they do it. Methodologies, data papers, position papers, like that, whereas replication studies, like this, there are multiple types of papers, right? So this is the structure of the paper. I think I will skip this for the today discussion. Generally, there are various common mistakes that the people would do. Now you see, this is where, some points where, the AI tools can support us. Okay. So the research question is not properly framed, as not properly specified. Okay. What is the main motivation? What is the main objective of this particular work? What is the larger problem that this particular work is solving? If this is not properly communicated, I think it's not only for a research paper, but even for the per se, for any research per se, right? Then the stated aim of the paper is a kind of a tautological. Then the structure of the paper is little chaotic, not properly structured, right? Similarly, it has not followed the instructions given by the journals to the authors, right? There are certain criteria of the journals that people have not followed, right? So the way introduction section has to be written, when you look at the structure of the paper, each section, whether it is an introduction section, methodology section, experimental results and analysis section, discussion section, similarly the set of references, everywhere each section has certain purpose. Okay, each section has certain purpose. Now, so take an example. AI tools can help us to structure our references. Let me tell you one interesting scenario. Now people are extensively using to compile these references many times without knowing what are the references that the AI tools is bringing, whether such references are real or whether such references are hallucinated, right? So I'm using an AI tool to create or structure my references, right? So if I don't use AI in a proper way, what is that references section should do? It should list all the sources I have used as a basis for my work. And imagine that AI tool has randomly picked some resource which is no way connected to the work. Or imagine that there is a work that is not at all existing. There is a hallucinated work, right? If it comes into the references, there are cases where the criticism from the reviewers, and it has gone to the extent of the published articles getting retracted because it's all hallucinated references, right? So AI being used by the scholars. So that should, for the references formatting, structuring and all that, but it should be done in a proper way. So you need to check accuracy of all the references, right? So that need to be carefully done. So if that is not properly done, obviously that leads into the problems. Similarly, of course, we are all not native English speakers. We do mistakes in our communications, right? So obviously, the way we write may be not good English, but now, thanks to various AI-based tools that polish our language, right? So there are various tools that polishes our language. Remember, I can use to polish the language, but imagine if I'm completely using AI tool to create the content. Now that becomes the problem, right? You may think that, sir, why, without talking about the tools, you are talking more on this, the way it should be used. I think, again, the essence is that I have told in the very beginning. If I ask you, you can also tell me now. There are various tools. I think probably you may be already using the tools, right? So in that regard, I'm just giving all this upfront the certain points that you have to keep in your mind, right? So these are all the common mistakes. So there is a process for the publications that people follow. Every publishing agency, they will give you, if you look at IEEE, you can look at Springer, how this publishing article, publishing the research paper goes, right? So there are various tips. My suggestion is, look at the various, the sources that are there that, you can get. My suggestion is that, many times we are there in the editorial board of the journals. We don't get reviewers because reviewing work is not there in any performance criteria anywhere. If you are a reviewer, there is no performance criteria, so people don't. But the point is that when I'm a reviewer, the reviewing thought process would be different. That will help me to write better articles, right? But if I don't do reviewing and if I don't view my own article in a reviewer perspective, I think I will not be able to write a better paper. What I said, can somebody tell?
Yeah, someone from this common side.
Many times when we ask, to people to review, they will not be interested to review. But when we review the article, we will come to know what are the perspectives that the editors, reviewers will think, so that when I write my paper or when I communicate, when I disseminate, I will take care of what would be the perspective of the reviewers on my article. Is that fine? You could understand that?
Yeah, actually, I just want to share my experience as a reviewer for many journals.
Yes, sir.
When we do the review, the advantage is you are able to read others' work. That is one way of learning. Second is what kind of mistakes or missing links that the author is, not able to consider while writing. The flow might have been missing somewhere, or he is not able to connect 2 points. So when we are going to write ourselves, we understand, because this is one way of learning. Any opportunity for learning, for any scholar or the faculty is always good. Reviewing is also one of the interesting assignments that faculty should able to take it, because you will learn new concepts, new methodologies, new tools which you are not familiar. And sometimes you may also get the opportunity to see the review of other reviewers comments also, because you are on the panel, you are on the board where you can see the other reviewers comments. Probably you missed out something which the other reviewer might have commented, or both the reviewers feel in the same line. Okay, then you can say that, okay, I am close to that guy. If I miss out something, then I can also learn. That is how you can improve. So reviewing is obviously a good opportunity for people to undertake to learn new concepts. There is no way we can say that this is not useful. Yes, I agree with Professor Ashwin's comment that it is not considered for promotion or review of your performance, but it is one way of learning. And obviously, anything that helps you to learn will be good for you, particularly for the research scholars and the faculty.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So next, now we will jump to the topic of now when we say that there is a philosophy, there is a body of knowledge, one has to contribute to the body of knowledge. That contribution should be done in a systematic manner, that should be done in a formalized manner, and then there are certain steps involved. All that, fine. Now it's a standard way of doing it, right? And that's how people have evolved the lot of domains. Any domain for that matter, today it is because of such formalized, curiosity-driven research. Now, we all know that, artificial intelligence is not new. It started in way back in 40s and 50s. But now, as a product, it has come to the market. And obviously, there are products in the market that would actually help enable the researcher. So that ultimately, what is going to get benefit? Number one is the efficiency, accuracy, automate, discovery, and then writing support and getting the data insights. So when you look at this entire journey of a research scholar, right, a research scholar has to analyze large amount of data sets, or even for that matter, large amount of literature itself, right? So earlier, people used to travel to the libraries. We used to have at VIT as a, before 2001 becoming a university, we were part of the library network with IIT Madras. So people have to go to IIT Madras library, check the literature, collect the papers, come to our campus back, like that. Now, thanks to digitalization, we are getting the research papers onto right away to our desks. So the digitalization has helped in that regard, efficiency aspects of it. Now I have hundreds of papers in a digital formats, right, in PDF documents or textbooks. Now I need to read through, I need to analyze it, right? So there I can get a helping hand from the AI so that my analysis can be increased. My efficiency in the analysis can be increased. Similarly, I can also dependent on the accuracy aspects so that there will be no bias. Of course, there are AI models that push the bias, but we are talking about the human bias. Similarly, identify certain patterns which, sometimes we miss it, right? So, and in that regard, our accuracy of research can be further be enhanced, right? So then automation of repetitive tasks. Like say, take an example, every time, we submit a paper to a journal, I still remember, when we write a paper when we compile it in a Word document, when we submit to a journal, when it rejects it, when we are submitting to another journal, obviously you need to change the entire formatting as per the other journal style, starting from introduction section, the way we write the content, the way we structure our references, the way we put our images, the way we cite the references, everything has to be, changed. Again, if that paper rejects in that journal also, again, if you are submitting another journal, same process, again to change. So this type of repetitive tasks, formatting, citation aspects, that is where things can be automated with the help of AI. Similarly, understanding the literature is one aspect, and then understanding or identifying the research gaps. Can I make a mind map? Can I visualize the, the citation network? Or, can I see the references structure of, the structured graph of references? Can I visualize it so that, I can have the helping hand from the AI tools for that. Similarly, as I said, I'm not very good in English, or, I need some support, okay, in terms of my writing, in terms of my presentation, right? So whether there would be any kind of support from the AI tools, yes, I can, right? Similarly, getting insights into the data, visualize the complex data so that my understandings of that particular data would be higher, right? So that, even whether I can have some predictive models working on top of that data, all that can be with the help of AI, right? So now AI is, changing the way the research is happening because, as I said, lots and lots of literature is coming out. There is a data deluge. We are having millions of papers. So take an example, you go to online and either you go to any digital library, IEEE or ACM or anything for that matter, you type on the topic of your research, say take an example, virtualization, you will get millions of papers, right? So there is a lot of data. But at the same time, I need to speed up. I need to do my research. Sir, you said philosophy, you said about the formalization of curiosity, there is a systematic approach, but at the same time, I need to complete my PhD in a stipulated time. There is a pressure on that, right? So all that, being handled by the AI, right? The generative AI tools are happening it. So now where the AI is going to be placed in the research, number one, in the literature discovery, there are tools that will help us to do the discovery of the papers related or relevant to the research work that we are doing it, right? Similarly, I can do the brainstorming, right? So meaning, I said in getting engaged in the open dialogue. So you think an AI agent which can actually be your your intellectual person that can be like getting engaged with an open dialogue, right? As an initial stage to argument. So, and to augment our topic of research, all that is possible, right? Now, let us, you can look at that now tools. I will come to the tools part now, right? What are the various tools? Especially imagine I have certain tools for performing literature review and to conduct the citation mapping. I think you can look at the particular tool called litmaps, which actually provide us to visually organize and track the literature. And similarly, when you want, it can automatically send the alerts whenever there is a new research paper. Of course, this concept is not new. There are already Google, if you have set an alert, Google Scholar will do a kind of an alert whenever there is a particular topic related research papers comes, you will be getting an alert. But now what actually the existing Google Scholar or something would do is, it will be, the litmaps will provide a visually organization of the literature and track the literature. That is the another interesting features of the litmaps. Similarly, there is another tool called connected papers. More or less, it is also doing the same job. You can also see the websites that are giving litmaps.com, connectedpapers.com. This purpose of this connected papers is to generate, again, a visual graph of all the related work based on the citations. Meaning, when we see the citations, right, the citation comes, related to the research work that is there. Similarly, I am doing a research and I am citing the papers. When I'm citing certain set of references, these are all connected, right? So this will provide a visual graph. When there is a visual graph, the best idea is that when I cite one paper, and imagine that someone else has cited a different paper, but that is connected to this, I can see the the connection between these two papers through this particular visual graph, right? So for that purpose, you can use this document identifier and then explore upon what are the the research network that this particular research paper is connected with. So it's it's a very good visualization platform. Similarly, another a tool called Research Rabbit, which actually people talk that it is the Spotify of academic research, right? So we know the Spotify, which is a famous, most popular, the music app. So it's a Spotify of academic research where it maps the other networks, it tracks the updates in the research areas, various research areas, and it also follows the citation trials, right? So meaning it is providing entire literature visualization and as well as providing you updates, then about the citation trials, right? These are all related tools. In one way or other, they all have similar features with a different visualization, different alert mechanisms, or different maybe one or two features, each one would vary, but more or less all these tools are connected to literature review and tracking the citations. Similarly, you have r.discovery, which is you can Google it as discovery.researcherlife, which is actually providing a personalized research feed, which is, since it is a personalized, obviously it is powered by the artificial intelligence. And the tool actually provides the recommendations based on the interest that the particular researcher is working on, maybe one topic or maybe multiple topics. And it provides the papers related to the area in which the scholar is working and gives you the update about the the new papers that are coming into the domain. Similarly, you have Insightful, you have iris.ai. These are all the various the platforms that help us in performing literature review and then making the citations. Next, we have the tools for performing research discovery. I wanted to do gap analysis. So meaning, when I have taken a particular domain, I have n varieties of papers. The previous set of tools help me to, structure my research literature, visualize my research literature. But now this set of tools will help me to conduct insights of the research literature that I have. So Elicit is a kind of research assistant which will help for the discovery, meaning, what are all the insights in that particular paper. So we will look at some of these particular tools. I have them in the screen. I will show it. Similarly, you have consensus, you have SciSpace, you have Semantic Scholar, which will help us to get into the paper, get into the literature or a particular group of papers and understand what are the gaps that are remaining in that particular paper. I would actually, this set of tools, I think you can completely dependent on because there are literature collection, analysis, but visualization. But this phase of research, meaning research discovery and gap analysis, I suggest these tools to be used in a very cautious manner, because it is not that we simply take what are the gaps that these particular tools are giving to us. It is like this, especially even if you read any research article, others will tell future directions, right? Others will tell in that paper future directions, which predominantly scholars will see that future direction. Okay, this paper has listed that this as the future direction. Let me explore this, right? So articles by default anyway will have future directions. Similarly, articles also will discuss open issues, right? Meaning the problems that are not cracked, not only in this particular paper, even by the earlier researchers, and still they are open for entire community, and nobody has solved it. Meaning, problem is there, but nobody has solved. So there are two ways to look at it. When there are open issues, one has to be careful in picking such type of problems. The reason is, since it is readily available as a research problem, I may take it. But imagine there's an open issue which cannot be closed, right? Which there is no further, further steps to be followed, or further there is no further solution available. Optimization, it has reached to the peak point, and there is no way further to be optimized, right? If I take such type of open issues, I think, we will be ending it up in a way that, into a roadblock kind of a scenario. So my suggestion is you can use these tools to conduct the research discovery and perform the gap analysis, but have discussion with your mentors. Okay. So do not leave your guides. Remember, many times scholars don't meet guides, don't discuss with guides. If guides are coming in this direction, scholars will run away in the other direction. So the point is, guide is meant for providing the research experience and expertise, guide the student in a proper direction. So imagine if we pick up a wrong problem or a problem that is hallucinated by an AI, I think, we will end up in a road blocking area. So in that regard, you can choose these tools, you can use these tools, but with a caution, right? Similarly, there are tools for reading purpose, summarizing purpose, and taking notes for purpose. So meaning what? These tools will improve your efficiency, right? So take an example. You have SciSpace Copilot, right? So this particular tool, which we can ask on any paper questions on a natural language, right? So it can help us in understanding the complex concepts, equations. It will help us in understanding the things in a simple terms, right? So it's one of the interesting paper for reading the papers and understanding the papers. Similarly, there is a summarization tool called Wiretune Read, which is an AI summarization tool with, it will provide quick read sessions, right? Similarly, it produces plagiarism-free summaries for the purpose of understanding purpose, not that since it's a plagiarism free, let us not think to the direction that I can take this and then use it. So you can use that summaries. Similarly, you have Speechify, you have listening.io, and interestingly, this particular tool, Chart PDF, is very, very interesting tool where you can give a PDF document and then perform the conversation with that. So take an example, like, you go to ChatGPT, you are talking to an entire body of knowledge, but rather, you give that, specific set of documents to the this ChatGPT platform, and when you converse, the platform uses only this particular set of documents we give. So meaning, there is no way that the platform can do hallucination. So the answers are based on the PDF that we give. So you are conversing with that platform on the PDFs that we give, so that the platform can create the summaries and then suggest certain key questions, and it can create a semantic index for each paragraph. So imagine if suppose you wanted to quickly read certain set of papers, I think this is a very good, interesting tool that you can explore. Then there is another tool called Paper Digest, which can, again, automatically generate concise AI summaries. These are all various tools. Similarly, you see Flowsite, which will actually do this kind of, taking the document, multiple documents, and organize the content. If you look at these platforms, there are certain features that are provided free of cost. But there are certain features these platforms would demand, the subscription kind of a thing. Next, you have the tools that would actually enhance our writing, communication, language. These tools, I think predominantly I would also suggest, because as I said, many times the papers do get rejected. Because of the way they are drafted, the way they are presented, and all that. So these tools can help us in polishing our languages, the way we are presenting our content. So PaperPal is one particular writing platform which will perform the job of writing assistant, and it can do the grammar check and the style, language check, etc., especially for the scholarly manuscript. Meaning, when you want to submit a paper to a journal, you can do that. Similarly, you have Trinka, you have Writeful, you have WordTune, and there is a most popular recently, this particular Genie AI, which is a kind of a co-pilot that helps the drafting and then autocomplete of the sentences, meaning, you type part of the sentence automatically complete. But nevertheless, I don't use any of these things. But, in a way that, I can say that we are blessed with an era or a time where all these tools are not there. We got equipped ourselves rather than taking the help of these tools. But now, considering the tools that are there in the available to us, we can enhance our these things. So that is point. Of course, the part of this presentation is also created with the help of these tools. So in that way, this one. So similarly, you have a Quillbot, especially for paraphrasing things. Many times our undergraduate students, postgraduate students, when they submit the reports, they do use this to, eliminate the plagiarism kind of a content. But you have the tools now to detect the AI content, right? So next you have for creating the beautiful visualizations, images, or maybe creating the graphical abstract. There are certain tools like Canva, Magic Studio that will help us to create the beautiful presentations. And then, many times, the journals do ask the graphical abstract, meaning I have about 200 to 250 words of abstract, but the journal wants that to be presented in a graphical manner. So we have to submit a graphical image that depicts the work that is carried out in the paper. So for that purpose, we can dependent on these tools. Similarly, you have to do research posters. We can take the help of either Canva or Magic Studio. Similarly, you have Prezi for the presentation purpose, right? So all these tools would actually help us to create the diagrams, right? Even that for the diagram purpose or for the infographics that we wanted to create. We used to depend on the the Excel, that the Excel used to create images from the data, but or even the MATLAB kind of a thing. But now you have these visualizations are very beautiful, and this one, right? Similarly, coming back to the managing the references and the citations, again, you have various tools such as Connected Papers, Research Rabbit, Lit Maps, Semantic Scholar. Each of them have their own set of features in creating the citation maps, creating the context of the citations, whether they are free access, what are the features that they provide. All that, you can take these tools and then check what actually you want. You want a citation map, you want a citation content. But predominantly, I am quite impressed with the reference management platform of Mendeley. It is actually a beautiful platform, which is, in fact, referenced by Elsevier, which can provide you the, collaboration with the peers. Then, you can also structure your references, and then the citations inside the text, all that can be, the handled by the Mendeley, right? Similarly, you have Cite AI, which can actually, take care of the citation related analysis. So these are all the various tools that would actually take care of referencing and managing the citations. Then coming to the, finding the proper venues, every publisher has their own platform that will help us to, find the proper journal for the work that we have carried out. So it's not that we submit randomly certain set of journals, right? We need to choose a particular journal that is relevant to our research. So in that regard, you have Journal Finder from the Elsevier. Similarly, Springer has their own journal suggester, right? Publication recommender from IEEE, right? So Journal Finder from the Wiley. These are all the various, the recommendation engines that you have to provide your abstract of the paper, title of the paper, and based on that, these platforms will tell us, okay, these are the journals, for you or for the work that you have carried out. These are the venues where you can submit your paper. Okay, so this will help us. And here I would like to put one particular caution, not for this particular recommendations, but generally, many times, we see that scholars do submit same paper, same work to multiple journals at the same time. That is not a appropriate or an ethical practice. Remember, when we submit a paper to a particular journal, we do give an undertaking saying that this manuscript is not submitted or under consideration in any other journal at the same time. So meaning, I cannot do parallel submissions, but rather, only either when the other journal rejects or if I withdraw, then only I should go for the submission of the paper to a different journal. But, I should not, submit a same work to multiple journals, right? So this need to be taken care, but, to support or to find the appropriate venue for publication, you have the tools that would actually support. So in that regard, let me quickly show you these tools that we have, especially for the literature review. I have the, see if I can open this, show. Are you able to see my screen of Lit Maps?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can see the Lit Maps. we have navigated from the PPT to the litmap screen. I think you are able to see, right? Can you please confirm? Are you able to see litmap screen features?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so you can see that litmaps. You can see that how one particular work is connected to how all other works in that particular literature. Say, take an example. You have a particular paper, and what are all the other papers, other works? Because manually, instead of finding manually by mentioning a particular paper, you can always find what are all the other connected papers to this particular work, so that you can do that analysis. Similarly, you can do deep insights or deep comprehensive understanding of that particular literature, by because of that beautiful interfaces, obviously, right? So you can select it and then go in depth of that particular papers. Similarly, you can also find on a particular theme, what are the authors and the keywords that are there, from which journal and all that, and then visualize that particular the citations and all that, right? So all that is possible with the help of this litmaps. You can see this platform and then play with it, especially wherever that is the free features are there. You can play with it. Then you have this connected papers, which can again help you to visualize the content and go through the links and graphs. Since these papers are, you can see that, I think more or less, you have this, say, take an example. Somebody said virtualization. So let me try virtualization, and I'm trying to build a graph on that particular topic. What are all the papers, right? You can see virtualization of, I think we need to talk virtualization in cloud, right? Virtualization in cloud. So in that regard, what are all the papers that are connected to that particular, again, you see that, you have used 2 free graphs that are possible. So either you need to log in and all that. Of course, the certain features are all, unpaid, but, you can see once you have the selection of that paper and you can see that related, what is that content, you can see it on the right side, right? So this is one particular paper, the portal that you can play with it, and by giving the your papers that you have, so that you can create the bibliography for your thesis. All that is possible. Essentially, you are able to see a visual overview of a particular field. Okay, so it's a visualization, and then you can see the connections with that. Similarly, in terms of literature review, you have R discovery. What is this? Okay, cannot download information. Okay, I think R discovery. I think you can Google it. If I think I'm not able to open this now. So you have next Research Rabbit. So you can see the Research Rabbit giving you to understand the topic, a particular topic, more or less the features. I think same set of features that we have just now mentioned, right? So you can go to each of these features of this particular product, and then you can see that. Next, you have you have consensus. This particular tool will help you to validate the research gaps. This is what actually I said, you need to be little cautious, or this one. So let us take an example. Imagine somebody said that agri business. Okay. You can see the various papers that are there under that, and then related to agribusiness. Then you can pick them and then do the analysis of them, or you can also do a deep research Of course, for that purpose, you need to sign in with your account, and you can give the you can upload a document, right? Of course, for that purpose, you need to log in. So you can upload a document. Then once you upload the document, you can interact. Let me see. Let us try. If suppose you can log in. Even I don't know whether there is any, okay. Yeah, I think, there are many times, these tools, very few tools are with complete set of, so you can upload the papers, right? So take an example. Let me take one paper, adopting, okay, introducing philosophy, logic. Let me take some paper. Okay, let's see. Let me see one paper. Okay. Okay, so let me give a book. So I have uploaded a document related to cryptography. So let me see, I can interact with it and then ask some queries, and it would start answering it from that particular content, right? So explain RS algorithm. And still it is uploading. I think it is checking from the, not only from the document, I think it is also taking from the other sources. I think still it is uploading. That's the point. So you can play with this set of tools for that, so you can also ask the research gaps that are there. But the point is that when I have done with one research paper, it has actually given the research gaps that are explicitly mentioned in the platform, in the particular research paper, right? So you can also use filters so that you can apply with the natural languages. Similarly, you have another tool called Elicit, again, to identify the research gaps in the literature. So you can try it with this particular platform. You can see what are all the solutions. You can create the reports, you can gather, you can extract insights, right? Gather the papers, screen the papers, extract the insight. Finally, you generate the reports, right? So, the point is that these platforms and their features looks quite interesting, but many times, very limited set of features are available for the free usage. But, the SciSpace, another interesting, the platform where it will help us to, take the research tasks, upload the papers, perform the literature review. You can have the diagrams, presentations, and all that. Now you can see that the interface is similar to our the popular LLM models that we have. Then we have SciSpace I have shown. Then Chart PDF. This is the interesting platform which I have mentioned, right? You can upload the PDF document, and then you can ask the platform to give the summary of the document. And even if there is a content that is created, it actually gives the detection, writing, and all that. And you can also have the flashcards that are being created. You can also create the slides from the content that you give. So this is one of the interesting and platform. I suggest you can actually explore this platform, right? So you can see that various features that are there in the platform. Similarly, listening, imagine that, nowadays, we go for a walk. During that time, you can listen to a paper, create the, the audio from the paper, and then, you can keep listening to that. Similarly, you have Fireflies, which can give you taking the help of taking the notes. There is an interesting application. Even for the meetings, this can be helpful. Similarly, you have this paper digest, which gives the, performing the literature review, performing the deep research, all that. Then again, another app for the application for the speak note, taking the notes. Then audio pen, again, for taking the notes and making documents from the notes and all that, right? Paper call, that will help you to, even you can write it. Then also you can do the plagiarism check. But I think, I suggest to go with any such type of plagiarism checks, go for the tools such as Authenticate or Turnitin. Then you have Jenny you have, then, that provides the another interesting research assistant, right? Then Mendeley, I have mentioned that, you can use it for the referencing and bibliography purpose, right? As I said, you need to create the graphical abstract, and you can use this particular tidbit app, which will provide you the graphical abstract or even the research posters that can be created for the visualization purpose. So as I said, these are the various quick summary of the various tools. So you can see that for literature review purpose, discovery purpose, writing and presentation purpose, reading purpose, taking the notes and creating the summaries, handling the references and the bibliography, visualization purpose. And of course, what I have not touched upon is for the statistical purpose, but for that, we have various, tools such as Tableau is there. Professor Murali has mentioned about the SPSS for, which can do the data analysis and the statistical package, all that. So when we have all these tools, there are certain guidelines from the publishers. And of course, I'm talking the publishers per se because, we go to the publishers for publishing purpose, but predominantly when we are doing the research, these things need to be taken care. So now I think almost 90% of the researchers are using the AI tools. Okay. And, there should be a clear policy of how do we use this AI in a responsible manner. So in that regard, there are certain guidelines and standards. Wherever such usage of AI is there, one has to disclose the AI where we have used. Is it that we have used for drafting purpose, editing purpose? So that need to be disclosed in a particular section. While he says, you disclose it during the methods section, and you need to enclose the tool that is used, AI tool that is used, what is the version date, and when we have accessed that particular tool, all that need to be disclosed, right? And while disclosing it, we need to tell for what purpose this AI tool is used. Is it for the drafting purpose, or is it for the editing purpose, or is it for the data collection purpose? So for what purpose this particular, the tool is used, that should be explicitly mentioned. You can see that, a particular example of the disclosure saying that literature screening was assisted by a particular platform on so-and-so date for particular purpose like this, right? So this type of disclosures are very, very essential when we are actually using the AI tools for our purpose. Similarly, we need to consider, somebody said in the very beginning, ethical and as well as the moral aspects of it. So data privacy aspects are very, very important that need to be taken care. How when we are using the AI platforms, the data that is used to get the inferences and all that should be properly handled, and there should be no bias in the AI algorithms that what we are using. And similarly, whenever we are using AI, there should be a formal consent. Then there should be a proper transparency. And then especially when there are images that are created, the images actually should be following the AI image policy of the publisher. Then above all that, whatever the content or the, that is curated with the help of AI tools, there should be a human involvement that provides validation, review of the content that is curated. I cannot say that, no, I don't know, this is created by AI, right? So, these are all the various disclosures. So I need to disclose for what purpose this particular AI tool is used. And there are certain samples of AI usage, right? I think, you can go to the Wiley guidelines, as I mentioned, of 2025. It is freely available in the Wiley publishers website, where all these things in terms of AI usage disclosures, they have given the samples. So essentially, the key takeaways are that AI tools are very, very essential. Okay. So, but the point is that, we can use these tools at different stages of our research. We have seen, there are various tools for each stage of the research, but at the same time, the usage of such tools should be disclosed, right? Then, essentially the human oversight is not a negotiable content. So I cannot say that, no, I have used this AI tool, I don't know. So I cannot negotiate on that particular terms. So I always need to review, validate, and I take complete responsibility of the content that is created by the AI platform, right? Above all that, ethics and privacy matters. So the core principle when we are using the AI is to support my thinking process, support my discovery process, not that I completely outsource the process to the AI platforms, right? That we need to keep it in always mind. So remember always certain things that AI cannot replicate the core of scholarship. So the creativity, curiosity, all that we actually should, need to taken care under the ethical aspects of usage of AI, right? And especially when we are using AI, we also need to remember that there is always possibility of hallucination by the AI platforms, right? So, of course, in fact, these platforms, they themselves say that AI can make mistakes, right? So AI can produce the certain hallucinations. So we always need to verify it. Similarly, fixation effect, which we can say that once you see an AI-generated idea, independent thinking becomes harder, because since we see that there is the proposition coming in, we tend to take it and then proceed further rather than applying our own thought process, right? So that is what is actually the important thing. Similarly, we have mentioned in the very beginning the black box nature of these AI tools. So over reliance, right? We are actually on these tools will minimize or narrow down our scholarly originality, right? That should not happen. Similarly, homogeneity risk is always there, because, the point is, especially in the case of discovery, especially in the case of identifying the gaps, the homogeneity is there, right? Everybody is using it, right? So that will bring that will bring down the diversity aspect of the scientific thought process, right? So that is very, very important. We all know that every human brain is unique. Every human brain thinks independently. Every human brain has their own thought process. But then when we are all dependent on one particular AI model, the model is thinking in the same direction. Obviously, the responses it will give in the same direction. But when you look at when you talk to 10 people, 10 different views, we will get it. That's what is the homogeneity risk of dependency on the AI platforms. So these are the 5 principles to keep the research mind alive. Let us not over substitute the AI and treat output as a provisional ones, and hence we need to verify, we need to stay transparent. I think that we are putting the same points in a different perspective, right? So this is what actually different set of model where actually human alone was there. Now human is there taking the help of AI tools, and then again human is doing the verification tasks. And many times, AI adoption in various industries, I think you can ask that it's only 25 to 30%. Now the point is people are worrying, rather than me taking the help of AI and then getting the content and then further verifying validation is taking more time, rather let me do myself the task. So I think that is the kind of stage where people are also, especially when there are certain critical tasks. But I think for more or less kind of a routine or, formatting, or kind of a visualization, I think, the point is where we have the AI can do better. So keep the researcher in the driver's seat, meaning take the complete control, and then question boldly. AI cannot choose which problem matters. So meaning, even if it is telling under the discovery apps, even if that is telling a particular problem, whether the problem really matters or not, it is the job of the researcher to take it, right? Similarly, it cannot supply, disciplinary wisdom. So we need to think deeply, judge wisely. These are the things that should be there. So with that, I think, I will come to the, the end of my lecture. So if any queries are there, please do interact for the next few moments.
Yeah, one by one, each scholar can ask if they have any issues.
Thank you, sir, for this session here. Actually, we are right now in a learning phases that year. This is your first sim. So we are getting the information about the, today we will get this, today I got some information about the AI tools are there. So I'm still working on that here. If I have any query about that here, definitely I will contact with you, sir. Because this is the new about that here. Already we are aware about the AI tools are there. So today also the ma'am has taken the lecture, morning lecture. That time the ma'am explained that here. But still we are not using that, sir. So first we will learn and then take that how to use that here. So that time we will get the queries, sir.
Sure. So anyway,
at least you get the theory about the AI tools are there. But practically we are still working on that.
Sure. See, these AI tools are quite, user friendly. If you look at these tools, they are like a drag and drop, right? So, or you upload your content and then start interacting. There is no programming involved. There is no,
Yes.
kind of deep engagement with it. It's like a simple drag and drop. So the point is, if you have any questions related to not the usage of the tool, because usage of the tool at any point of time, you can just drag and drop, play with it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
So, or even for that matter, any doubt if you have on research process per se, you can feel free. Even if not now, you can communicate with me later also. No problem.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, as you said, almost 81 to 84% of researchers are using AI, right? So, is it allowed in, thesis writing or paper writing? And you use the word plagiarism. So, how can we try or write our thesis or paper like that? The use of AI will be allowed.
Okay, so this is one of the challenging, the task for a scholar or a student when they write a paper or a thesis. How do we see that, the plagiarism is a one thing? See, it is predominantly, we need to understand this way. Earlier, people when they are writing thesis or a research paper, we don't have a digital tools that people can actually use it, the creation of the content. People used to write manually or even type it with Word and all that. But, and even at that time, plagiarism used to be there. But thanks to the digital tools, now they are detecting it, right? So it is, the benefit is there both sides. People are able to detect. At the same time, since more and more content is visible or unavailable, when we write something, if say, take an example, a definition, right? When we take a definition per se, it should be written with the way it is defined. I cannot write my own definition. Obviously, when I use the definition that is there, obviously it will match with the content that is already there. So in that regard, I think, when we are writing definition, we need to give that quotations and then provide appropriate source from where we are taking it, right? So all that is allowed. In that regard, many times what we do is we also tend to give the plagiarism percentage to a point of acceptable. So take an example, some universities, some journals, they say, okay, we are okay with 10%, we are okay with 15%, or we are okay with 20%. The reason is you will have definitions, you will have certain theorems that are coming from the literature. You are having certain content which is standardly available in the body of literature. Even if there is a match, these plagiarism detection tools would also see if this match is already cited with the proper reference, right? So in that way, we can cut that score. But imagine that if there is a exact input of the line by line, word by word content taking, and then intentional plagiarism, or intentional omitting of the original source, or even sometimes the tools are there to do the paraphrasing. Even there are tools that would detect the paraphrasing. So in that regard, I think many times, even if when you write a paper in a very fluent English, sometimes there are certain false positives raised by the platform. So in that regard, maybe the best approach is, you sit with your guide, mentor. The mentor will take care of and look at the judicially how you have written the paper or a thesis, where the plagiarism or the similarity is coming in. Certainly, you cannot 0% eliminate the similarity, because you use the definition. When you use the definition, obviously it matches. So where this is matching, so take an example, in your literature section it is matching, or imagine if it is matching at the methodology section, right? Methodology means somebody is proposing. And I'm saying that I'm proposing, but at the same time it is matching, right? That's a concern. So this need to be verified judiciously, and that is possible with the help of mentor, the guide, and of course, also you can also sit and then do that with the help of the tools. It has to be done in a systematic manner. Any other queries?
Yeah, Bhagyashree Jadhav, you have any?
Yes, sir. All these tools are free, or we need to purchase that tools?
So these tools, as I said, madam, I think these tools predominantly, except one or two, these are all the tools that provide certain features at free of cost, and many features at the pricing model. Similarly, certain usages, like you may access them at free of cost, but in a very limited number of times. But for the rest of the number of times, you have to pay it. So nothing comes at free, because these platforms at the end, back end, they are using AI engine. And these AI platforms are, again, background, they have this, either it is language models or something, the RAG-based models. These are all actually demand lot of power and all that, right? Processing. So in that regard, there are all commercial models. So these commercial models, obviously, they charge.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other further questions or suggestions or observations? Just to remind all the scholars, and I would like to thank Professor Aswani Kumar for taking out time to be with us, if not in physical mode, online mode. Thank you, sir, for your time and efforts. And I just want to brief the scholars that as per the new UGC guidelines and AICTE guidelines, the AI adoption cannot be avoided, but at the same time, AICTE said it is 15% is adoption of AI is okay, and IIT is one step ahead, so they said 10%, and then institutions, UGC said it is the institution which need to take a call. But day before yesterday, there was a discussion or presentation by AICTE UGC, which says that if the adoption of AI in the thesis found to be above 40%, the scholar will be given a month's time to make the corrections and submit. And the guide will be reprimanded. If the percentage of adoption of AI happen to be above 60%, the guide's thesis will be rejected, and the thesis of the scholar will be rejected, and the guide will not be allowed to guide further for the next 3 years. So it is not just the responsibility of the scholar, but also the responsibility of the guide now, whether you are using AI. If so, what is where you are using, as it was mentioned clearly. You need to be clear about that and disclose that, because even for paraphrasing there are tools available. So you can't say like, I've done everything, nobody can catch. No, there is somebody who is going to catch you. So it's better always to use your own brain. AI is not the brain by itself. It is adapted, learned by certain mechanisms by using machine learning models and all. So we can't say like, your brain or your ability will be replaced by a machine. So always use your brain, your experience of your guide and co-scholars. The most important thing that always keep in mind is most of the top institution, the advantage will be co-scholars will be there with you. If you make a mistake, they are there to review your paper, your work. They are there to support you, because somebody might have gone through that step. Okay. So always keep your learning in such a way that you keep on using your own brain and the knowledge that is available with you and your guide, your advisory committee, rather than just the AI tools. AI tools will be there. They are going to be helpful, but at the same time, be judicious about its adoption. So that is what I want to tell. And thank you, Professor Ashwin, for your time. And it was just a short notice that we have given you. Thank you for your time and efforts.
Thank you, sir.
Before you close, probably can you brief yourself, sir, about your publications, your top 2% of the scientists, just briefly, because I could not present all those things. Just 1-2 minutes.